Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. So, there has been a lot of news discussing uh, the transfer portal. There has been a lot of transfers going on in the college basketball game, on the men's side and on the women's side. Um, not as much as the women, not as much women as men, but so far, but on the men's side. But overall, in college basketball, there has been already um, transfers in place or getting ready to take place. Now, people in the transfer portal. Now, um, I have my thoughts and feelings about the transfer portal. And we are going to get into that after we listen to what Roy Hibbert has to say. I have been a fan of Roy Hibbert since he was in Georgetown. I have been since he was at Georgetown. I have been a Georgetown fan since I was, I'm gonna say, maybe 7 years old. With the likes of the point guard Joey Brown, George Butler, Iverson, Victor Page, John Jocks. There's just been a lot. Matumbo, Alonzo Mourning. But I want us to listen to what Roy Hibbert says about the transfer portal. And I will give my reaction to what he said after we listen to what he said. So let's get into that.
Movement. If coaches are able to, all right. Well, I feel like there should be freedom of movement. If coaches are able to like get up and leave, you should be able to leave as well. But I feel like there's a caveat right there. I think it should be one and done. You should be able to transfer to one school, and then you can't be going from school to school to school to school. And I want to take it back to when I played from at Georgetown from 2004 to 2008. Coach, you said that I was a wrecking ball. I did well and everything like that. But my freshman year, I was on the bench. Jeff Green, who's still playing to this day for the Houston Rockets, he was the starting center. And I remember a game, John Thompson III. We were playing against Davidson at Davidson. This is way before Steph Curry. This is my freshman year, and we were up by 25 at halftime. And coach did not put me back in the game. He didn't sub any of the starting five out. So I was sad. I was in my feelings. Called my parents on my phone, and I was like, hey, maybe I should leave. I should transfer. But there's something to be said about having fortitude. And I said to myself, you know what? When things get tough, I can't just run away. And I know there's a fine line here because every situation is different. You may have a situation where you're hurt or a coach rubbed you the wrong way, so you should be able to leave. But there should be something for fortitude, saying, all right, you know what? I'm not just going to like leave when things get tough. I'm going to figure it out. But I think the transfer portal is good in certain aspects. But in terms of this year, I would have to say the people saying that there's no Cinderellas and the mid majors, aren't there to like knock off those top seeds. I feel like as a result, we're getting some of the best basketball that we've seen in the first, second, and in Sweet 16, and hopefully, the Elite Eight that I've seen in a long time. So that's one of the benefits of it. The level of basketball has risen in the first couple of rounds, but at the same time, I understand what you said, GP. Fans can't understand, the movement, and they're a little frustrated. But at the same time, it should be an open market. We live in a society where it's capitalism
Yep.
is at the forefront. So
Yep.
happy for these young kids, but it should be one and done, a new one and done. All right. Well, I feel like there should be freedom of movement. If coaches are able to like get up and leave, you should.
Okay, so um, going back to what he said first, he said when he was at Georgetown, there was a moment in time in which he wanted to, he thought about transferring because he felt like he wasn't getting the playing time that he deserves, or he felt like it wasn't the right fit for him. But what did he do? He just kept, he fought through it. He fought through it. He didn't transfer. And he became a good player at Georgetown, and he was drafted into the NBA, and he had a pretty good NBA career. Now, the transfer portal, like Roy said, I understand, you know, there may be. issues and different reasons as to why you want to transfer. But what happened to the resilience? What happened to fighting through situations? Your endurance, going through trials and tribulations, and you know to make you stronger, rather than just running away and just going from school to school to school. Now, I do like how you don't have to sit out a year after you transfer. Now you could transfer to another school, but there are people who transfer and transfer and transfer to different schools. Um, and I agree with him. I think it should be one and done, because I think that this transfer portal is getting out of control. You have a coach, you have the coaching staff who take their time to go out and watch you play in high school, probably since middle school. They watch you play and they recruit you for years and years, and they get you on the team. And then maybe after the first year, you're gone because you want to go to another team, or because you feel like this system isn't right for you, or you feel like, um, you know, I won't win a championship here. Well, why did you go to the school in the first place if you thought that you weren't going to win a championship there after your first year or whatever? Why do you feel that way? And I like what he said. I think it should be one and done. If you do transfer a second time for whatever reason, I think that you should sit out a year. I believe someone in the comments did say that as a suggestion, did suggest that. You should sit out 1 year. Um, but but then we're gonna have what, 24-year-olds, 26-year-olds going against 18-year-olds in college. Now that's a big gap, but I think, as Roy said, it should be one and done. And if this is your decision, you're gonna have to stick to that. You're gonna have to stick to that. It's all about making the right decision and taking your time and making the right decision, not just being impulsive and going here and going there because something did not work right. And then when something doesn't work right with the other school, then you're going to transfer there. Like, I feel like we're in a time in which we are giving the youth, people now, too many choices to just move and do this and do that without any consequences, right? Make their own choices. And I feel like it is decreasing their chance to build endurance. It's not showing them how to fight through situations mentally. It's not showing them how to still understand that there are people that you are going to have to work with to complete a goal. And these people you may not like, or you may not agree with everything that they agree with, right? So there may be a disconnect with you and your teammates, or and your coaches, but try to work it out, because you all have one common goal, and that is to win the championship, or to become a better player first, and to win the championship, gain more knowledge of the game of basketball, and win the championship. But when you're going from this place to this place to this place, what is it teaching you? It's teaching you that when things get tough and rough, you just leave. You just leave. But like Roy Hibbert said, what he did, he stayed and fought through, and he became a pretty good player at Georgetown, a pretty good player, and made it to the NBA, right? So I believe, you know, this transfer portal going from team to team to team, I don't like it. Um, in women's in the women's basketball, Hallie Van Lith, she, you know, and she's a good player. She played 3 seasons with Louisville, and then she had one season with LSU, in which it didn't go too well for her, and then she transferred to TCU, in which I believe the whole starting lineup all came from different schools, like they never played together, and um, I just think that um, this transfer portal is teaching our young people to run away from situations rather than work it out, right? And it's just, when you get into the real world, you can't just go from job to job to job. Oh, I'm gonna leave this job because things aren't going well. I'm gonna leave this job because I want to work with this person, and I want to go here. I want to leave this job. No, like when they look, when they see that on your resume, because let's be honest, not I think there's a few percentage of college players that go on to play pro. A few, a very small percentage that go on to play pro. Um, and we have, and the point of college is to prepare them for life. And going from school to school to school because you don't like this coach or because a situation happened is not a good thing. And we go back to, we've been hearing the rumors about, um, excuse me, Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo, right? There's been rumors that there was some beef with them, or Olivia Miles didn't like some of the things that um, Hannah had said, according to her beliefs as a Christian, right? And that may be one of the reasons why she has decided not to go into the WNBA draft and become the second pick, but to transfer to another school. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I would like for her to go to South Carolina. That would be great, because Pow Pow is leaving. Bria Hall is leaving. I mean, I think that she would be a good fit, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, but we have to understand that, and, and I'm sure a lot of y'all would disagree with me. We have to understand that there are things in our life and there are people in our lives that we are going to have in our life that we don't agree with on certain things, right? But us transferring from school to school to school, I mean, like, where's the loyalty? You know, where is the loyalty? But let's go to James, the first chapter. We're going to start at the second verse. It said, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double minded and unstable in all they do." So, when we go through trials and tribulations, it is a form, it is a time to build yourself up, build up perseverance, build up your endurance, um, become resilient, you know, and grow in the Lord. Grow in the Lord. And I'm not saying, look, to, you know, if you're being abused by a coach or mentally, physically or whatever, if you're in a state of mental strain with a certain coach and you've been trying and you want to transfer, fine. Like, I don't see anything wrong with transferring, if need be. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I have an issue with, and I have a great concern with, people just transferring and transferring and transferring just to transfer, right? Just to transfer and go into other schools rather than building on the school that you're at, and working with the upcoming freshmen who are coming in and building on that, right? Where is the loyalty? Where is the loyalty? And seeing Olivia Miles going into the transfer portal, it was shocking, but um after, being projected the number 2 pick, it was shocking, but it kind of wasn't shocking because the NIL deals, she could make more money in college rather than the WNBA, um, as of right now, So, and, and she is probably searching for a championship. She's searching for a team that can win the championship so she can have that under her name or next to her name once she graduates. But that's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? And we see and we see on the men's side, Indiana University, um, the whole team is just gone, whether it's to graduation or transfer transfer portal. The team is gone. Like there is no team. Like the whole roster is just gone. And I don't know how that coach is gonna get the team back, but it may be tough. But I don't know. I think that the transfer portal is doing more harm than good. And I think some people abuse it. I think it should be, as Roy Hibbert said, one and done. And you have to make that decision, and it's let your yes be your yes and your no be your no, and stand firm on your decision, and then build from that. You know what I'm saying? But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. God bless you all. Be safe.